Hey everybody, welcome to the Labyrinth of Limitations. We are going to talk about a fifth scale of chords today in addition to what I shared with you and we went over in the last episode a few weeks ago. Today it is the diminished scale that we're talking about, and we want to talk about what it is and how we use it. So let's get into it. So what is a diminished scale? In order to understand that, we need to go back to something I mentioned in the last episode and said we talk about more. And that is this relationship. And that's called a 6 on the 5. So to just explain that quickly, we have this C sharp fully diminished 7th chord, which is the primary parent of this chord, because we just take this chord, the diminished, and lower the 5th string, and we get C7. We can take this diminished and raise the 5th string, and we get G minor 6. So this chord is the primary parent of both of those chords, and we take 3 notes from this diminished plus 1 note of this diminished, or 3 notes of this diminished and 1 note of this diminished. And then these are connected because they express the same thing potentially. So C7 resolves to F major, and G minor 6 also can resolve to F major. So we can get this kind of thing. Or that was more polyphonically done, but we could just do a simple scale of chords. To F major. Or just resolving F major, C7 on one hand, G minor 6 on the other. And they both work. So they can both express the same kind of harmonic function. And then what I mentioned in the last episode is, so this is connected to this in a 6 on the 5 relationship, meaning that G minor 6 is the minor 6 based off of the 5th G above C. That's what that means, but really it's about this. So then this is connected to that. And this is connected to that. And then this is connected to that. So these are all 6 on the 5 relationships. And one chord can express all of those chords. And that is this diminished that is found in between them. So here's G minor 6. Here's the diminished that's the primary parent. And here's C7. And this diminished can resolve to F or to any of the places that any of those chords resolve to. So I can go like that. And it's actually the off chord in an F major 6 diminished scale. Okay, so this is where we're taking this is where we're taking off from for our diminished scale work, is just kind of understanding that we're going to make a scale of chords out of this diminished. So let's do that. This is our diminished that's going to be our on chord in the diminished scale, all right? And this diminished is the only shape we need. This shape is all we need. I can move it up a minor third, and it's the same chord. I can move it down a minor third, same thing. So then to find the off chord, what I do is I take a look at this chord, and I look at the 4 dominant 7th chords it expresses. C7, G flat 7, A7, and E flat 7. And I take those 4 roots, put them together, and they form a diminished chord, which will be our off chord. Which is a nice sound, just that. So I can go. It's a pretty sound. Did a little polyphony, just a little bit there. But that is the point. And just like our other off chords in the other scales of chords, the relationship to the what you might call the root of our on chord is the same. So if we just, for the moment, we'll just say this C sharp is the root, because a fully diminished 7th is symmetrical, and it really doesn't matter which one we think of as the root. I'll call this the root for the moment, just because it's on the 5th string. It makes it easy to show this. So the off chord is here, it's made of these notes. And just like with my other scales of chords, that is a major seventh below above C sharp, or a minor second below. So a major seventh, major second, perfect fourth, and sharp fifth. Major seventh, major second, perfect fourth, and sharp fifth above C sharp. So that's the little expression of it. So that's what the off chord is in this scale. So I am making a whole theme around this subject for what we're learning right now over in the Patreon learning environment that I've been developing a lot lately. So I would invite you to join us there. We have a jazz standards series now where we're talking about Embraceable You, which uses the diminished scale really nicely right in the second bar, because you can go... And you can use it here. Here we go. You can use it in two different places, right in the first two phrases of Embraceable You. So it really kind of hinges upon this scale. I mean, you could do some other things, but it's really nice in that song. So we're doing that in our in the daily practice regimen series. We're talking about borrowing, and the diminished scale is incredibly easy to borrow on. So we're about to do some diminished scale borrowings, because all I got to do is know about this half step down to the off chord or whole step up to the off chord, and vice versa when you're on the off chord, I mean. So if I'm on the off chord, I go a whole step down and I go a half step up. This makes it really easy to borrow, which means blending between the on and off. Sounds like this. Just like that. I could just take the bottom three notes of this drop two and go. That's a nice sound. So I could go. Now I'm going to abandon the melody and just go. Really pretty sounds. Just a little borrowing like that. So I went. So I go. Really pretty sounds. Borrowing is super easy. Relative motion, using the elevator concept, super easy. So it's a beautiful scale to explore. So we're adding this to the mix. We got our 4 scales of chords, and we've got the diminished scale, and they form this wonderful foundation for us to explore polyphony. And in many ways, the diminished scale is the easiest one to do. We can do it over any dominant seventh. We could do it in some other situations too. We'll talk about on my Patreon. So I hope you'll join us. Thanks, everybody.